Hi everyone. For those who don't know O9 Solutions, actually O9 Solutions is being used by Amazon devices to run their supply chain. So we are a planning platform which is being used for supply chain and manufacturing. Today we're going to explain how we leverage our agentic AI framework in terms of helping drive better performance of the supply chain. We call it the post-game learning. Before that, let me put you a video to explain a bit the concept.
I just had a call with the CFO. He's got a meeting with the board and he has some questions. $300 million jump in excess inventory? Customer service issues at the same time? I mean, why did this happen? And what can we do to prevent it in the future?
It's the forecast accuracy, especially the mix level.
Is that the only problem, though? Can the mix accuracy be any better? And also, some of the excess is at the component level, and those are shared across SKUs. So it's not just the mix accuracy.
Yes, but those are parts where we made strategic buys because we had good pricing deals. We all agreed to this decision 3 months ago. That shouldn't be reported as excess.
Then why is there excess on these slow-moving SKUs and are still short on the high-volume SKUs? Are the inventory policies set right?
Well, we did set inventory targets at the start of the year, but conditions change and our processes don't update them frequently.
Wow, this was incredible, Steve. Let's look at the replay. See here, look, the midfielder misplaces the pass, the wide player doesn't commit, the defender intercepts easily. That's where the counterattack begins, and then the winning goal all against one.
They've got video replay. We need that. A decision replay system. What decisions were made, what went right, what went wrong, and what we need to improve.
So what you saw here, right? It's very, let's say in sports, we have video replay systems. We can replay what the players are doing. We have an analysis. Now look into manufacturing and supply chain, right? What happens? How many of you guys have been sitting in an SNOP meeting? We are looking into a dashboard. We see the KPIs. What do we see? We see what we have missed. But what we lack is, why did we miss the targets? Right? Let's say this is not embedded into the dashboard. This is not embedded into those KPIs. Right? What is also not embedded into that is what are the actions that we have to do to improve those KPIs. That is still on our tribal knowledge. That is still something that we know. That is the question that our bosses are asking us, right? And what happens with this is that it's also embedded into our own biases, our own behaviors, right? Those are insights that are not, again, in any standard performance dashboards, right? So what we wanted to tackle, the key problem statement, is how can we institutionalize learning in supply chain and manufacturing? To the example that you saw before, if we have excess of inventory, a demand planner will say that it's because of the forecast accuracy. A procurement planner will say, well, we did some strategic buys. We had to buy more because of the price reduction. And then the manufacturing guy will say, well, actually, I had to build more because I have certain batch restrictions. All of them are individually correct, but there is not a one kind of connected view of that. So that is the main problem that we try to solve. And if you look into this pattern, right, cycle over cycle over cycle, this is what we are seeing. We are seeing a miss in the KPIs, different types of diagnosis by the system, and no clear owner, right? And this is what we try to tackle. Our solution, that's why it's called post-game analytics, it's how we embed the agents to understand what decisions are being made in the system and how these decisions are affecting a specific outcome. What happens? Why this cannot be only solved with LLMs? So I think we have said in many sessions throughout this Congress, LLMs are really good at sensing, they're really good at perception, they're really good at reasoning, but they have a fundamental limitation, which is the hallucination, right? You cannot tolerate hallucination in manufacturing and supply chain. You cannot have somebody suddenly send a vessel to the wrong location. For this, you need context, right? The concept of context has been heavily discussed in Gen AI. This is what we have then provided, right? Let's say we have provided a layer so that we can scale all of this technology to be able to run these agents into production. What happens? What did we actually do? So first of all, what we apply is our technology runs on top of different AWS components, right? So for example, we use SageMaker to the machine learning algorithms. We use Lambda to integration. What we have built is 4 different types of layers of graph technology. The first one is the value chain graph. So we apply graph technology to provide a context and understanding of what are the different connections, what are your suppliers, your factories, the materials, how this is flowing, and what are the relationships within that, right? Let's say, I think you have seen a lot of these, like the digital twin concepts. These are already, something very much discussed. But we have also built these different layers with the graph technology. The first one is the decision context. Every decision made in our system, in a planning system, who made the decision, why that decision was made, what was the context of why that decision was made, let's say environmental conditions, is also connected, and we have all the relationships there in a graph. The third one is the learning of this. What means if I take a car every day and bring my kids to school, and I take a different route, and I get stuck in the traffic, that is learning. That is learning that I embed into a policy. In supply chain, this could be, well, use this supplier instead of this other one. This production line is different. Those policies are also connected in here, and we have developed the graph technology to connect those. And the final one is the compute graph here, right? So we have connected all the different solvers, the optimizers in supply chain, which produce the results together. On top of this, then, is when we have then applied all the LLMs. Right? Let's say the LLMs run over this with a layer where we are connecting all our tools and our solvers. Let me show you a bit more in reality how this is being made. So as I said before, right, what we do is every decision made in our system, we are able to trace back why this decision was made and how it is affecting. Let's take, for example, this excess of inventory in a specific product and a specific location. Because the excess of inventory happened, actually, there's something going on before. There was maybe, for example, high inbound distribution. That high inbound distribution, or maybe the over forecast, was due to something else before. Let's say the over forecast could be due to some order being canceled. And the high inbound distribution could be maybe because the warehouse was over capacity and we had to ship things, downstream. But that can be in turn also be driven by overproduction. All of these decisions made in the system, we connect them all together. So we connect what was the plan, what was the demand plans, the supply plans for the distribution, procurement, manufacturing, what was the actual execution data, what did we actually produce, and then what was the outcome that we saw in a KPI. All of this together, we connect them to then drive an understanding of the full linkage of these decisions together. Now let me show you a bit into the platform how this looks like. So what you're looking now in here is, let's say, all the list of all the product and locations where we had of excess of inventory. If I look into one of these concretely, what you see here is what I was explaining you before. So this is a bottle of 500 milliliters in a USDC. It was excess of inventory because of over forecast and high non-distribution. You have all the dates and all the reasons behind. So these, again, as I said, these are actual decisions made by the people operating our planning system, which are being recorded with the full connection in a graph technology. And so this is enabling us to really understand how this is being performed. Why this is important? If I then go into the agent and I ask, can you run a post-game analysis on excess of inventory? This agent will then now start to understand all of this information in here. What it will then start to produce is at the first level, it will tell us, hey, I have excess of inventory of X amount of dollars. The change versus the last cycle is this one. You have certain inventory which is at risk of expiring because it has shelf life. And it's able to then start to drop all the reasons of where are you having excess of inventory by locations, by types, right? And a bit of the, the top contributors. So again, this is very hard to generate if you have not that context that I was explaining. Now, this is one picture, right? This is one snapshot of why you are having excess of inventory now. Now, let me do this cycle over cycle over cycle. Let's say in every cycle, I then start to understand how decisions are being made, how they are affecting my KPIs. What I will start to then build is the knowledge of the consolidated reasons why I'm having excess of inventory. So let's say the excess of inventory, if I consolidate, could be because of demand accuracies, because of policy and parameters, because of portfolio complexity. I want to start consolidating and aggregating that knowledge cycle over cycle and start to see patterns and behaviors. I start to see how humans are making this decision, how these decisions are evolving, are these decisions different depending on the country, and so on, because different types of humans operating the system will have different types of ways of seeing it. What I will then get is that if you then ask me, hey, can you show me a root cause distribution on this excess of inventory? What the agent will start to give me now is a consolidated reasons of why I'm hitting this. So for example, in here, what it's generating is telling me, look, there's been some forecast adjustments, there's been some overproduction. Actually, 44% of the cases of you having excess of inventory is because of, for example, forecast adjustments. This means that the 44% of the cases where I have excess of inventory were because people were touching the system forecast. Let's say people were saying the system forecast, they thought it differently, and then they were adjusting it. That's 44% of the reasons why you have excess. But it could also be other reasons. Again, this is the aggregation of those decisions in every cycle and how it is affecting this KPI, like excess of inventory. Right? What happens is that this is not enough, right? I want the system to understand and tell me what actions do I have to do to drive this improvement. Right? And this is important because I could have short-term actions. Let's say in the short term, I could say, look, move inventory around, try to minimize what you have, maybe pause some income POs, some income supply. Let's say these are tactical things that I can do to alleviate the situation, but there maybe are some structural, let's say, decisions that I need to take. For example, change the inventory policies, change, for example, the forecast bias. Let's say I could drive a policy where I say to my planners, in these intersections, do not touch the forecast because you're actually messing up with the system and you're actually generating excess of inventory. The thing is, creating a loop where I resolve the situation, I learn, and I institutionalize this to prevent this from happening again and again. Right? The problem statement that I was showing you at the beginning, this is very hard. It's very hard to course correct the behaviors of people. This is a way where I can learn from those insights and drive better policies. If I then go into the system, I could then prompt the system to say, look, what are the key corrective actions that I should take? O9 will then generate a list of all the actions that each individual has to take. So for example, there's different action items, different products, different locations. All of this can be assigned to the different planners in a global organization. And it can then also start to tell me, by the way, this is the recommendations. These are some value leakage stories. So this is important. If I go into a meeting, I don't only want to have an action. I want to have an action with a story behind it. I want to have an action with the context so that I can explain that during a meeting. What this, in the end, generates is the following, right? We call it post-game analyzer agents. We essentially generate performance highlights. Let's say, why are you missing your KPIs? The root causes aggregated into that, the value leakage stories, and the action recommendations. This is, in essence, what our agentic solutions are actually bringing to the market. And you can then consume this in multiple ways. Let's say there's podcasts, there's executive point of views that you can share, there's different PowerPoints, right? So in the end, this is to be being used directly into the meetings. This is already being deployed on certain of our customers already. And here is a bit of a summary of the benefits that we are seeing. The first one is very clear, right? Faster diagnosis. If I now ask in a meeting, in an S&OP meeting, why am I having not a specific KPI, here I can change from weeks to months to being able to answer the question in the same meeting. Right? So a lot of the executives are actually asking us because we use this during the meetings in an executive board meeting. The other one is let's say, the consistency of the analysis. Every individual will have a different analysis of why we are not meeting the KPI. So this drives consistency. For example, in the case of inventory, we were able to identify 4% of the total intersections which had excess of inventory. So this was really where we identified very quickly, and it was consistent throughout every cycle. And the last one is the concept of what we call touchless planning. let's say, the degree of automation that you can reach in an advanced planning system expands considerably because of this. Let's say we're reaching levels of around 90% of touchless planning. This means that 90% of the decisions being taken by the system, planners do trust about them, and they continue. Let's say if I produce a production plan, in only 10% of the cases they will touch it. Why? Because now I understand how my decisions are actually impacting the output. So these are the key benefits that we see. Just a bit to wrap up. Thank you very much for joining. We have, let's say, basically different types of these solutions. So one is the inventory one, which is the one that I showed you. We have the same for forecast accuracy, for service level, and we're also now prototyping one for the cost of goods sold and procurement. So the idea, again, is we anchor these solutions based on a specific KPI, and we tell how the different planners are operating our planning system and how this is affecting these KPIs.